Hey, what's good, people? It's your boy LJ Mentor. If you ever thought about starting a podcast, may not know where to go, you might think it's hard to do. That's actually not true. I got the perfect place for you to start. You can go with Anchor. It's free, it's very simple to use, has all the creation tools you could possibly need, and it could distribute your podcast for you across many podcast platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You trying to get paid, right? Well, you don't have to have any minimum listeners, and podcasts can make money for you. You got something to talk about. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Just download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. What's good, people? We back at it with another episode. What's the word with LJ Mental Podcast? And as always, I'm your host with the most, LJ. And appreciate you once again for joining me for another episode. This year has been wild. This year has been crazy. 2020, I'm sure, is a year a lot of people wants to forget about. This year started out crazy as hell. I mean, from obviously the pandemic, which has impacted the world, to things that's all been going on since the beginning of this nation, which is injustice for colored folks, mainly black people, especially with police brutality, and it's just been crazy. It's from the death of Kobe Bryant to many others, Pop Smoke, and most recently, who I want to get into, is Chadwick Boseman. This, yeah, is really crazy, and it's so sad. And it brings me to my word of the week. My word of the week this week is legacy, because the reason why my word of the week is legacy is because you talk about someone who's left a lasting legacy, someone who will remember you. Um, and it's not even about just adoring fans or how famous you are. It's just like, what is your legacy? What is you left on? What do you want people to remember you by when you leave this world? And you look at somebody like Chadwick Boseman, everybody who's posted about him, people that knew him, from famous people to all over the place, they said he was not just how great his work ethic was on set, but how a generous man and how kind this man was. That's all I hear about this dude, how such a good dude he actually was. Like, that's, I think, the main thing, aside from the fact of how great of an actor he was, because this dude was, he was up there with the best of them. You ask me, this dude is amazing actor. But I think that stands out when I hear about all these people that speak about him. They say that he was such a kind man and he really cared about people. Like, I think that's more telling than his act. I think that's telling from more so than the movies. I mean, that's obviously huge. Um, and this man was the definition of a black hero in this country. He really was a real stand-up guy, and it is such a great loss. And it's really sad. I never met the man personally, but I wanted to shed a tear because it was, yeah, it's really sad because he really was like a hero. And when you see somebody like that go, it's like, it's sad. Nothing lasts forever, but the memories will last forever. Um, and from the many movies this man has played, and he's played some of the most iconic figures in this nation, as far as black iconic figures, from Jackie Robinson in the movie 42 to James Brown to Thurgood Marshall. And I've seen all those movies. I actually went on a binge spree in this movie. Some of the movies I did see, some of them I haven't seen before. Like, I haven't seen Jackie Robinson movie until recently. Um, and also the Thurgood Marshall movie and James Brown. But yeah, to see the greatness and to be able to take on all of those type of roles uh, is is amazing. From when you hear about how Chadwick Boseman passed away from cancer, unfortunately, I don't even like saying the word because I have people in my family who have. I lost someone recently who passed away from cancer in my life. Someone in my family passed away recently, and I really don't even like saying the word. Such sense makes my skin crawl almost just saying the word. But it's a reality, and unfortunately, just when you hear that apparently Chadwick Boseman has been dealing with this since the year 2016, colon cancer, and still able to perform at a high level on set, and you see it in the end product in the movies. Man, it was amazing. To be able to deal with that, going from chemotherapy to go on set and do all back and forth to chemotherapy to going on set every day for the past 4 years, and you could see that Chadwick Boseman put out a lot of work at the end of his life, from obviously Thurgood Marshall movie, like I said, to Black Panther, to the Five Bloods, which is on Netflix. Message of the King. I'm sorry, Message from the King is the name of the movie. Also a really great movie as well. Um, you can see the many roles this man has played, and to be able to do that while dealing with cancer is amazing that he's able to put all that work together. So it just make you think like it really ain't no excuse for none of us out here to keep grinding and keep growing. And this it's tough out there because life is hard. Let's just be real. Life is hard, but we got to get through it though, and it ain't no excuses. We gotta find a way to keep going and be your own motivation. You shouldn't have something happen to be your motivation. You should be your own motivation. And also what I saw from Chadwick Boseman too, he was visiting children who had cancer while he was dealing with his own cancer. So he just showed up to that. I just pictures out there, him showing up in the hospital um, with kids, and they were so happy to see him. Just to be able to see, and he was speaking on it too in interviews about how just seeing how these kids just wanted to see the Black Panther movie, and they wanted to actually see the real Black Panther, the guy who played them, which is Chadwick Boseman. Wow, these children that were cancer, and it brought him to tears. And he was dealing with his own personal struggles, and he didn't even make it aware to the public or anything. He kept that all under wraps because he wasn't thinking about himself. He was thinking about everybody else, and that's clear that that's what he was doing. That he realized, like, listen, yo, this is not about me. At the end of the day, it's about everybody else. And he performed to highest level. You can see that he didn't complain about it. He didn't whine about it. He just kept going until the end. And that's a hell of a testament. I think that's what this man, what I look at him as. I don't know how everybody else sees him, but I think his legacy was one thing I hear about is he really was a true hero, which I definitely believe that's true. But yeah, but what does that really mean? To just save people. I think from all aspects, he was a hero. From really just genuinely caring about people, from performing on screen to he actually knew martial arts, to able to go and talk to people, able to perform it while he was like I said, dealing with this cancer. So I think that's what people really remember. I will remember him for being somebody who just didn't give up and just kept going and just and that's inspiring to me. He helps inspire me. Chadwick Boseman is a great loss. Rest in peace to that man. I feel for his wife and his family, and it's a really tremendous loss, and it just make you think, what do you want your own legacy to be? For real, that's really a question. Like seriously, Now, on another note, going into that, it just make you think while we dealing with this pandemic, how you really been spending your time during this pandemic. Are you just sitting there, just doing a regular job or not working, just waiting for things to go away? Because on the real, that's not the way to be. We got to find a way to pivot and move still. We got to keep it going. And this should have really awoken your inner hustle, your inner grind. Like, how can we move? How can we navigate through this new time period? And I was up here thinking, not from a standpoint of, oh, when we gonna get back to concerts or clubs again. Even though, yeah, I want to get back out there and go to events and stuff like that. I'm looking at it from my instead of like, man, I was really wondering, are we actually gonna get back to a time where we don't have to wear masks again? Like even some months down the line, where we say, okay, it's cool, we don't have to wear masks anymore, and then there's another spike in COVID because at least in our lifetime, in 100 years, we have not seen this ever in life. So this is just crazy, but we gotta pivot, we gotta keep moving, and how have you really been using your time? Whether you want to use this time to work out, be healthier, get in shape, um, start a business. Uh, it's just some, yeah. And as far as starting a business, just some simple ways to start a business too. It's actually not that difficult. I'm gonna give you a few simple steps what you need to start a business. Can't give you all the details, but I'll give you a couple simple steps. First thing is you need to establish um, what are you selling? What do you want to sell or build up? So let's say what do you like to do? What's your turn that into a passion? Turn it into a passion project where you can watch that manifest and grow something you built from the ground up and then let it grow from there. So just pick something you want to do, whether it's you want to be a hairstylist, a barber, you want to be a designer, photographer, you want to build, have your own catering business, um, whatever the case may be, whatever you enjoy doing, your passion project, whatever it is, real estate agent, something like that, you can do it. Now, I can't tell you because I know some of these professions you have to get a license first, but I mean, as far as just getting your business started, figure out what it is what you want to do, and then you need to figure out, okay, what's your target audience? Just do a little research, ask people um, who likes it, figure that out. Just do your research. Once you got that idea started, you got that well, you got that whole thing going on, hold it up. You got that cooking. Then one of the most important things, this is what someone told me to start a business. This is something I actually wanted to do for a long time and finally did. But someone told me, and I'm telling y'all, you need to get an EIN. You could get an EIN, which is an employment identification number. Employer identification number, sorry. Employer identification number. And you can do that by going to irs.gov and you search there, EIN. And there's a couple ways you can get it. There's a method where it'll try and make you pay for it, but there's a way you can mail in your information and you can actually get it started without having to pay. So yeah, there's a couple ways you can do it, but start off going to irs.gov and get your EIN. And also, one of the most vital things you need, especially in this day and age in 2020, you gotta get a website. You gotta have a website. Now, preferably, I would say with me being a graphic artist, I would say if you want the most custom way you want to do it, I would suggest getting a designer to actually build a website. Um, if or there's actually a simple way you can do it as well. You can go to GoDaddy. You can go to Wix. You can go to Squarespace. There's a lot of tools out here for you to build a website. and it's simplified for you. Now, with these tools, if you not don't really have a great design background, you don't know how to build website, you can still have a really great functional website with these tools. It just you won't have as much customization. If you have anything specific you want to add, the customization might not necessarily be there. That's why I would suggest going to an actual designer, graphic guider. I'm sorry, graphic designer or web designer who can actually build your website with a more custom feel. Um, but yeah, it's not that hard really get your business going. So I would definitely suggest this day and age. You don't have to have a storefront these days and age to have a business. You just got to figure out what it is you like to do and take those few steps to get it started. And also, when you do start selling, you do need to get a business license. So yeah, look into that as well. And also, yeah, it's about pivoting. What can you do in this climate to really grow and what you can bring to the world. 'Cause at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's really not really about us. It's about what we can do for other people. What can you bring to this world to help benefit everybody else? What's something special about you? Because everybody got something special in them. It's just sometimes it really is hard to figure it out. Some people got it figured out from day one. They know exactly what they want to do, and I know it's hard for a lot of people. It was hard for me for a while to figure out what I wanted to do. You just need to know what you're good at because everybody's good at something. And that's not just some cliche. That's the truth. Everybody is good at something. You can bring something to the world that, what can you bring to this world that nobody else can? You just got to figure that out. So, but yeah, but use this time wisely. Get your stuff together. Um, tips for some of my tips be help surviving a pandemic is some like again somebody else told me, and the first step is realizing that you don't know everything. At the end of the day, realize you don't know nothing and be willing to learn. I've had to deal with that myself. I've been very stubborn and I've admitted that, and it took me a while to realize that I need to just sit back and just listen and learn. Just be a sponge, soak it up, soak it all up like a sponge. That's what you really need to do. And some advice I got was to pick up a trade. And growing up, that wasn't in, because I think a lot of people look fantasize about what they see in this world, about what they might want to see. But at the end of the day, if you got a trade, you can always work, even if you get laid off. Unfortunately, because a lot of people have been laid off or fired from a job, you got a trade, you can always work. So I would suggest that finding a trade, whether you want to be a plumber, an electrician, a mechanic. Um, it's an honorable job at the end of the day. It is, and or especially with this day and age, you learn something new with technology. I'm even taking some. I've taken some online courses myself, to and I've had to brush up on some of my skills of because I knew how to make websites, but I even took a little small course to brush up on some skills because at the end of the day, technology is always changing, so it's good to brush up on your skills. And right now they making some of these courses are free out there. Some of these courses you do have to pay, and they're not that expensive. A lot of them. I would suggest going to Corsia, I think it's called. That's spelled C-O-U. I'm sorry, let me get that for you. That's spelled COURSERA.org. They got a ton of courses on there, online courses on there, um, where you can learn something new or refresh your brain on something that you feel like you might need to brush up on if you are in technology. So yeah, I would suggest going there. There's a ton, or just Google um, online courses for any something in particular you might want to get into. So yeah, I would suggest that. Look into that. Look into learning new skills, pick up a trade, or doing some online courses, or using this time to work out or get better or spend. And also, this is a good time to spend more with family because I know all of us are busy out here with our regular lives before this pandemic. But this is a good time to really get closer to your family. Me, I live in LA. My family lives on the other side of the country. So I can't do that. I still keep in contact with them quite a bit, but I can't physically be there all the time because I'm in LA and they're in New York. But yeah, I think this is a good time to really just really figure out what you really want to do, what you really need to do at the end of the day to better your situation. Just get whether you need to get closer to God or just get spiritual. This is really time of reflection and then grow. This is really this time ain't gonna keep us down. I know it ain't. We just gotta keep moving and we gotta grow. So yeah, time of reflection. And like I said, the word of the week is legacy. Just think about what you want your legacy to be. When you look at it, at the end of the day, what do you want people to remember you by? Just that's something really, I think, really important to think about because we ain't gonna be around forever. And whether you have kids and you pass the and you plant the seeds in them on what you instill in them, and then they grow, and then so yeah. But at the end of the day, what do you really want your legacy to be? Um, and how you want to be remembered. I think that's big. Something I've been really thinking about since Chadwick Boseman passed away. That's something that's been weighing on my mind heavy. Um, but yeah, I'm about to switch gears a little bit, and I want to talk about now. Speaking of legacy, we talk about Brandy versus Monica. There was an IG battle, the versus battle that they had this past Monday, and it's crazy. They had, I think it was the most viewed one. They had like a million point two, 1.2 million viewers on IG Live. I know they do it from I think Apple Music as well, but on IG Live alone, they had 1.2 million in less than 30 minutes, I think. So for a 3 hour versus, so yeah, that's crazy. And I thought when I saw Snoop Dogg and DMX do it, I didn't think they would. I didn't think nobody would be able to top that, but they definitely did, and it was definitely good. I mean, that's when I think about it, it should be expected from Randy and Monica, but it just goes to show you that people still love R&B, like, and it's not just like older heads, like it's young cats too. They love Randy and Monica, and that showed with the viewership. So and they both got so many classics. Um, and I love what Brandy did too. Before she played her song, "I Want to Be Down," she told a little story about how when she met Tupac back in the day, and he's like, and she was surprised that he knew who she was. He's like, "Yeah, Want to Be Down," and then she played a little clip from the song "Me and My Girlfriend." Tupac made, and then mentioned Brandy's name, how she wanted to be down or whatever, and then she went into her song. I just thought that was dope how she did that. And Monica's always had a great voice. She got a lot of classics as well, so it was a great matchup, and it just fit. And I was wondering if they were going to play with their probably both of their biggest single, "The Boy's Mine." I'm like, they can't use that against one another, can they? They both on it. But it was the last song that was played on there, and Brandy played it. But it was a great battle, great verses. I thought that was dope, and just wanted to touch on that. And I'm trying to think. I think Monica won. I just think overall, Monica. I love Brandy too, so this is not a diss towards Brandy by any means whatsoever. I just think as far as voice wise, just singing alone, it's not even close. It's really not even close. Monica has always had. She's been on that grown people. Like she sounded grown when she was still a teenager. I remember when that song, "The Boy's Mind," came out, and it just Monica's voice just stands out. Like it really does. So I just think overall, Monica got too many hits. Not saying Brandy don't, because she's amazing as well. But Monica, yeah, got that for me. I'm sorry. And who I wonder who gonna be the next versus is. And I've heard some interesting stuff about I think Timberland, who is part of who hosting these verses with him and Swiss Beats. I think Timberland he put up something on social media a little while ago about a playlist between Tupac and Biggie. Obviously they're not here anymore, but having somebody, he's like, imagine if this was real verses, and and I know some people started to talk about maybe they could have somebody represent either one of them, um, or both of them rather, and they could have Puffy represent Biggie and Dre represent Pac, but I think that would be a little tough for Pac since Dre was only around during the Death Row years. He wasn't there with early Tupac, like with Digital Underground. So that would be interesting to see if somebody actually did have two people to line for them. But I think the battle that needs to happen is Jay Z and Nas. I heard Juicy J talking. He wanted to do a versus with Nas and then wanted to do versus Jay Z. But no disrespect to Juicy J. I love him, love 3 6 Mafia, but come on, bro. You need to stop it, man. That's, yeah. Yeah. There's only a couple guys that's in that upper echelon as far as all time great MCs. And yeah, that's a tall task, man. And I think yeah, the only person I think that Jay Z could versus Nas, it would be the perfect matchup. So that would be amazing. So to see, and it would be interesting to see because they on friendly terms now. They haven't been beefing in like 15 years. So I remember when they had that I Declare. I think it was Jay Z had I Declare War tour, and he brought Nas out, and that was when the beef was over. And but yeah, since then they've been cool. I think so. It would be interesting to see if they did have a battle. Would they actually play Takeover or Ether? That would be hilarious if they did. So I think they should play it if they did that. If they did the verses, but that would be dope to see uh, a versus with both of them. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what's the next verses we see out there. I don't know, but I'm interested in seeing. Now let's talk about the NBA playoffs right quick. The first, I think all first round except for one game. I think tonight, Houston Rockets and OKC is the only matchup that hasn't been decided yet. So the first round was pretty interesting. A couple series or blowouts, which usually is. Um, so it was interesting to see that. And I know people are riling up Portland, and I was even on the bandwagon for a little bit. But at the end of the day, it came back to reality that, yeah, they were no match for the Lakers. At the end of the day, it's not close. Um, and the Clippers, Dallas Mavericks were giving them trouble for some time, and but at the end of the day, the better team won, the Clippers. And some people could say that Porzingis was hurt and never got a chance to play. At the end of the day, the better team did won. The Clippers are better from top to bottom. I think even with Christoph Porzingis, the Clippers would have still beat them if in 6, if not 7. If it did go 7 games, I think the Clippers would have still beat them. Utah and Denver decided last night. Denver won the series from 4 games to 3, and it was a low scoring game. I think the final score was 80-78 or something like that. And in these day and ages, with more possessions than it was in the early 2000s and 90s, like I reminded me, I'm like, man, this is like a game in the back in the day, like it's crazy. It's a low scoring game. But now, especially with everybody shooting threes nowadays, like that's crazy that was such a low scoring game. But yeah. So Denver ended up moving on, and they'll face the Clippers the next round. So whoever wins between the Rockets and the OKC tonight will face the Lakers. I hope it's the Rockets because I think it'll be a more entertaining series. And I think, yeah, the Lakers will still win. I think either way. Um, in the Western Conference Finals, which I think a lot of people are expecting to happen. The Lakers and the Clippers decide who goes to the finals. And on the East side, we got Milwaukee and you got Toronto still out there, and the Bucks. They having some trouble with Miami right now. They playing their second round series because they've had some sweeps in the Eastern Conference. So I don't know. So people, Miami might upset them. I don't know. So and which is interesting. That would be crazy because Giannis, the Greek freak, in Milwaukee has already been named Defensive Player of the Year. And they're expecting that a lot of people expecting he's probably gonna be the MVP of the season. We gonna see. Yeah, but that would be crazy for an MVP to get out in the second round this day and age. So, to be named. But yeah, I mean Giannis. I mean he does need some help, more help. But yeah, that would be pretty crazy if he got beat by the Heat. So. That'd be that's pretty interesting. But I'm looking forward to the rest of this NBA playoffs. Has been really great how they prepared for it, and it's still moving despite everything that happens. So yeah, it's been real interesting, and with everything going on, this is the word that's been stuck in my mind. Like I said, it's legacy. And what do you want your legacy to be? Just do your own work. Don't worry about how many people got following your stuff. What people say about you. You can't worry about that because at the end of the day, nobody knows you better than you. It's true that other people may see stuff in you that you might not see. That's true because I've had people in my life point out, "Hey, you should do this or you should do that." So it's true that some people see stuff in you that you might not. But at the end of the day, I don't think anybody knows you better than yourself. Don't let nobody take away your joy, your shine, and grind. And just make sure do what you can to establish what you want your legacy to be, and keep pushing. So yeah, we gonna end it with that. Appreciate you for joining me. This has been another episode of What's the Word with LJ Mental Podcast. I'm out.